server on the side. So the bus itself is the backbone all the devices are connected to. So the single backbone, essentially if the backbone fails, well, your entire network is either going to be separated or it's going to fail. This is great for certain applications, one being your car. Not very much data has to be sent, but it needs to get somewhere very quickly. So in this case, say one of the laptops needs to send a message to the printer. Well, it's going to send a message through the backbone to the entire network. So every single device technically gets the message. Whether or not the message does something is another story. So this will be important later when it comes to vulnerabilities, the broadcast nature of the network. So the first network that we're going to go over for just maritime electronics is the voyage network. So the voyage network is essentially the network that helps navigate the vessel. So if you think about it, just anything that helps you get from point A to point B is part of the voyage network. So on the left we have, kind of wanted to put a picture of it, but so the ECDIS, it stands for the Electronic Chart Display Information System. So just think of, it's like typically in most modern ships, it's a touchscreen device, kind of like an iPad, where it just displays all your information. You know, you'll get a map, you'll get GPS information. Pretty much, it is what it says it is, which is an electronic chart display. So it just displays all your maps. You have stuff like AIS. So AIS stands for Automated Identification System. So AIS is something specific to ships. Ships over a certain size, so Class B and Class A vessels, you don't have to worry about that. They are required to have AIS transponders, and these broadcast messages to other ships and to shore stations on a regular basis. Essentially, every few minutes or every minute, depending on what the broadcast frequency is set to, it will display, hey, this is my ship identifier, this is my call sign, this is my location. And this obviously helps ships navigate around each other. You also have other stuff like radar. Hopefully I don't have to explain it, but radar is definitely very, very useful in low visibility situations. Okay, so the IT network. Devices on this network allow the crew and passenger to conduct administrative and leisure tasks. So stuff like this, you can imagine an email server being on here, anything that allows you to connect your personal device, you know, send Snapchats you've got to all your friends. I don't know if anybody here has that experience. I know I don't. But they also allow the crew just administrative use. So pretty much it's most of this is administrative in nature. The biggest thing I would really think about is just think about servers. You know, if you talk about in relation to, say, you know, planes, planes will also have something like this, where you know, you see the crew walking around with tablets. You know, sometimes you can make purchases and everything in flight with them. All that information is also stored on an internal server on the plane, and people have habits in ships. So the engineering network. So this is the interface between the crew and all the industrial control systems for the ICS on board the ship. So anything that allows the crew to interface with anything that drives an actual ship is on the engineering network. So stuff like the autopilot, which actually you know, can turn the boat. It can pretty much control the entire boat. It can lock you in a certain heading. You can make 180 returns for you, and this would be on the engineering network. Stuff like compasses, the GPS, just anything, as I said, just that allows the crew to control the ship will be part of the engineering network. So, relevance. We're going to go over just why is this relevant? Why should we care about this? You know, we have, in terms of cybersecurity, there's certain industries that definitely have, you know, a leg up. The financial industry, they definitely take cybersecurity very, very seriously. But maritime cybersecurity is kind of an interesting one. We really don't hear much about, well, hey, people are hacking into ships left and right. That kind of doesn't seem to happen travel only on very confined paths. So as you can see, coming in or coming out of the harbor, they start going into these channels. And then within the bay itself, well, it just looks like a giant mess. There are potentially thousands of ships just crossing paths at any one time. And so seeing this, you have to just think, it's the same thing like, how do planes ever crash into each other? There's so much room up there. There really isn't, even though there is so much room in the water, ships definitely travel on confined paths. And so they're very, very reliant on just a lot of the technology that they use on board, and one being AIS. And so with this reliance on technology, there have been some great advances. Crews aren't as big anymore. So a crew of 10 can man a 300-ton cargo ship pretty easily. You don't have people shoving coal into the engine in the back. It's 10 people who pretty much run an entire ship, but that is with the help of all this technology. But what happens if someone compromises this technology? It could be pretty disastrous. And with that, I'm going to go into some of the statistics. And so, over 90% of global trade is carried by sea, and the other 10% presumably by dolphin. I'm actually not, it's typically air cargo, maybe a couple camels. But just think about that number. So essentially any trade that goes globally, so exports and imports from other countries, is carried by sea. It's the most economical way in terms of volume, which is why pretty much when we get the closest port to here is the Port of Los Angeles. A lot of traffic goes through there. The volume of trade increases 3% annually. So we are trading globally more and more. That's pretty much what that stat is for. And here's an interesting one. So when you think of piracy nowadays, unless you're thinking of like, Captain Jack Sparrow, you typically think of, well, internet piracy, people stealing movies, TV shows, all that stuff. And so that cost, the U.S. economy approximately $250 million in 2016, right? In terms of actual ship piracy, there were about 10 total incidents recorded in 2016. I think the greatest one, or the most recent one, actually involved 6 stolen paint cans. So not too significant. But what would get governments, companies to start caring is, well, what if pirates started arming themselves with technology? What if they were able to commandeer boats with a laptop and not an AK-47? That would potentially be a very big, very dangerous thing, especially since the global trade economy, especially maritime, is worth trillions of dollars. So this, if it'll play. So the School of Engineering there, they were able to actually successfully commandeer a boat, or yacht actually, in the Mediterranean. So this is a quick video.
Off the southern coast of Italy in June 2013, a 65-meter super yacht and her crew were part of an unprecedented experiment led by the University of Texas at Austin that successfully coerced the vessel off course using a custom-made GPS spoofing device. 30 miles from land, the crew's sense of the ship's location is based entirely on simple GPS signals broadcast from orbiting satellites. A UT student, serving as the attacker, commands the spoofing device to transmit faint counterfeit signals towards the ship's antennas. The attacker increases the power of the spoofing signals until they are stronger than the satellite signals, gaining control of the ship's navigation system. The takeover is stealthy. No alarms are triggered. Once in control, the attacker initiates a 3-degree change to the ship's course. The ship's navigation system reports that the vessel is drifting slowly to the left. The false location is represented here by the ghost ship. The crew applies a course correction to bring the ghost ship back onto the intended path. In reality, the ship is now on the attacker's course.
attack, but somebody could potentially do this in a very busy port in the marina or somewhere else, and guess what? If you commandeer the data ship and just start crashing into other ships, you can cause a lot of damage. Alright, and here's another thing that I thought was really interesting, because this actually happened recently. My team actually sent me an email about this, but it was about loading software. So the Planner software that they use to load ships, I have not personally seen it, but in an audit of it, apparently it can be very, very easily compromised. So the loading software is basically what goes where. So you have this container, it's full of shoes, it goes here. You have this container, it needs to be refrigerated because it's full of fish. Or you have this container, it also needs to be refrigerated because it's medication. So the loading software just helps basically how you load a ship. So apparently these messages can be very easily compromised, and this can be dangerous because, well, somebody can fake the weights, and you can render a giant container ship off balance, which would not be very fun for the crew. But an attacker could modify stuff. They could essentially make it so that a container that should be refrigerated doesn't have to be refrigerated. You can put all the heavy stuff over on one side, have the ship start listing to the side, and really the crew would be none the wiser until they cast off and they realize that their ship isn't handling like it should. So I guess another interesting fact that the article mentioned was that potential thieves, they could probably pull like a Fast and Furious kind of thing, where they label a ISO container that's super valuable to not be loaded onto the ship, and instead they just go in and pretend that they're the semi driver picking it up, hook it up, and drive away with some valuable cargo. Funner vulnerabilities that we found aboard our system. So remember that this system is representative of pretty much Class B vessels. So all the electronics you find on our test bed, you would find on an actual Class B vessel, meaning that, yes, these exploits would work on an actual boat. So, first one, literally a phone app. The funnest vulnerability that some of our contestants discovered actually was the complete lack of authentication of the wireless capabilities of the touchscreen. So, as I said before, the touchscreen, you can pretty much control the entire boat. You can set waypoints, activate the autopilot, activate the radar. What contestants were able to find is that it hops onto unauthenticated wireless networks automatically. So what some contestants did is they set up a rogue access point. Essentially, they jammed the legitimate access point that it was connected to. It hopped onto theirs, and then from there, they were able to download a phone app made by the manufacturer and use their phone to control the touchscreen. And from their touchscreen, they were able to move the rudder left and right, activate the autopilot, pretty much control the boat from their phone. Another fun one is, this one team was able to use a SDR, so a software-defined radio, and they were able to spell out the word cone on screen using a whole bunch of ghost vessels. So essentially what they did was they spawned a whole bunch of fake ships that showed up on the display. So if you can imagine the situation, just say your captain just cruising along, and all of a sudden a whole bunch of ghost vessels show up. It's going to freak you out a little bit. Obviously they went for the cool shock factor, but one of the more dangerous situations could be subtly adding ghost vessels along a ship's route to reroute this, whatever ship it is, to where you want it to go. Replay attacks were very common. So a replay attack, what that is you take information, so you capture information from the system, just plug it in the network, capture some packets, and then you just use the packets you capture to just, you replay it. And due to the lack of authentication in the system, pretty much you could replay anything that you captured from it. There are a lot of system integration vulnerabilities favorite autopilot vulnerabilities was the fact that I mean, you need physical access to do it, but you could activate it just by applying the right voltage to the network at the right spot. Wi-Fi vulnerabilities were a really big thing because, especially if you have an open Wi-Fi network, from the Wi-Fi network, you can then navigate to the multifunction display and control the entire boat. For these other ones, weather station, GPS / compass data, we found that that was very, very easily spoofed. So we had one of my team members was able to pretty much figure out the message structure for all of that, and then he was able to send false GPS coordinates up to the point where he made the boat think that we were traveling at about Mach 20, which would be awesome if your boat could actually travel Mach 20, but I don't know if that's possible just yet. So these are some of the fun vulnerabilities that we were able to discover. And as I said before, a lot of these attacks are technically possible on a lot of vessels out there, and that is the dangerous part. So mitigation, how do we stop stuff like this? And so, okay, so some of the bigger things is with maritime networks, it's such a strange mixture of physical and electronic components that it's very, very difficult to have just like a very easy oh hey, put up a firewall, oh hey, put up an intrusion prevention system. It's really not that simple. It's a mixture of legacy components. Like I said, a lot of ships are still using a legacy NVIDIA 0183 components, and there's also a mixture of the new plug-and-play ones, the new 2000 ones, and so it's very difficult. One of the best things to do is, physical access. Say you have just, this would be the equivalent of just leaving your server room unlocked. Don't do stuff like that. Physical access is one of the easiest ways somebody could get into a maritime network, especially if you say run a cruise ship or anything involving just having passengers that you don't vet on a normal basis. Physical access becomes really important. So important things to lock up would be servers, junction boxes, anything of that sort. One of the next important things is just personnel training. Humans are probably the weakest link really when it comes to cybersecurity, so personnel training is incredibly important. One of my favorite challenges that I picked up for the event was having people send malicious emails, so phishing emails, to the captain. So I essentially told them that, hey, some of the crew members are trained to not click on malicious links, but not all of them are. So basically, we had some of the teams send, they just straight targeted the captain, who would click on every single link. So personnel training is incredibly important. So don't plug in random flash drives that you find just sitting out on the floor. That is typically a very good one. Don't do that. And just policy. So policy is very important. This plays into personnel training as well. It's an administrative control. And if you just want to set very strict policies for things like this, you might think that, especially with, who's going to hack you when you're out at sea? Well, the most dangerous times, to be honest, are when you are either going out of port or coming into port. That is when things get very busy. In fact, that's one of the